Hi boys and girls, in this video we are going to learn how to create warm and cool colored sculptures out of paper. For this first step of the project, you're going to need one sheet of drawing paper and then some sort of coloring supply. For this video, I'm going to be using markers, but feel free to choose whatever supply you would like. We're going to color the entire sheet of paper using cool colors. Let's remind ourselves what cool colors are. Cool colors are just as they sound. They're colors that remind us of things that are cold or cool. So think about the ocean. We're going to be using blues, greens, and purples today. You can use any and all shades of these three colors in order to fill your page. Now, this is just step one, so we're not going to be creating a masterpiece. I don't want you to spend too much time on this step. You're going to fill your page with colors, with lines, designs, and patterns. So I want you to take the time, fill your page, have fun, be creative. When you're done, come on back to the video. We'll go on to our next step. Now that I've filled my entire page, it's time to move on to the next step. I'm going to flip my paper over and use the back part of my paper to color warm colors. For me, I'm going to still use my markers, but again, you can use whatever supply you want. Before you start, let's remind ourselves, what are our warm colors? Just like cool colors, they're exactly like they sound. Warm colors are colors that remind us of things that make us warm, like fire. So those colors are red, yellow, and orange. We're going to use those colors for the next part of our project. You can use any and all shades of red, yellow, and orange to fill the page with warm colors. Just like we did with our cool colors, we're going to fill it with lines, patterns, designs, and shapes. Again, this is not your masterpiece. This is just step 2 of a sculpture project. So work on filling the page as best you can. Have fun, and when you're done, you can come on back to the video for the next step. Now, I'm going to be honest, if this was my final, I'd probably color a little bit nicer so that I could get rid of that blue. However, I did this pretty quickly. So for our next step, we're actually going to practice making a sculpture. You are going to need a piece of paper. It could be a piece of white paper or construction paper. You are also going to need a pair of scissors, and I'm going to use a Sharpie so you can see it. You can use a pencil. So gather those materials and come on back. In order to start our sculpture, we need an interesting line. The line has to start from the edge of the paper. This way my scissor can get to it. If I start in the middle, it won't work. So we're going to make an interesting line that starts off the side, any side of our paper. Now, here are a couple tips. A line that's zigzaggy like this and really tight, you can't cut that. It's too hard. So please don't make any of those kinds of lines. This next line I'm making, it's really close together. If I were to cut that with my scissor, it would probably rip. And then this last line, the loop-de-loop, this is overlapping and crossing over each other. Do not make any types of these lines. Your sculpture will not come out the way you want it to if you do. So try to make nice, big, spacious, smooth lines. I'm going to start at the edge of my paper, and I'm going to make sure it fills my entire page. It needs to end somewhere in the middle. So I'm going across my entire paper. I'm making some bumps, some wiggles, just to make it a little interesting. And when I'm done in the middle, I'm going to make a nice big dot. So when I take my scissors, I know where I need to stop. Once I see that I've had a nut line and it fills the space, I'm going to use my scissors to cut it. It's like a path. I'm only going to cut on the line. If I miss the line, it's okay. Now here's the thing, boys and girls, we are practicing because sometimes we make mistakes, especially if we're doing something for the first time. Your line might not come out the way you need it to. And the only way you're really going to know that is if you do it. So I want you to practice on a practice piece of paper. This way you don't ruin your warm and cool color paper. So if you make a mistake, if something rips, if something breaks, if it doesn't fold correctly, right? If it doesn't work out. Don't freak out. Just start over again. Figure out where you went wrong, why it's doing what it's doing, and then fix it for the next time. And that's all art is, right? We just keep on making these mistakes and making them better and fixing our mistakes. Continue to cut the line until you've reached the dot that you drew. Once you hit that, you can stop. You should have one long piece of paper. If you have a couple pieces, more than one, something went wrong and you just have to figure out what it is. I can actually put my entire paper back together when I'm done to show a full piece of paper. That's how much in one piece it actually is. Okay, so check it out. Make sure you did it right. If you did not, if something went wrong, take a look at it, figure it out, and fix it. For the next part of the project, you're going to need a glue stick. What you're going to do is you're going to take your time and bend and fold and curl your paper till you get a 3D sculpture. Remember, a sculpture is 3D, which means it has height, width, and depth. So try to make it so that it's not so flat, but has those 3 dimensions. It might not work at first. You might have a hard time. You'll see throughout this video, I actually struggle with keeping the paper in place. But the practice is for you to get a sense of the paper, how it feels, how it moves, so that when you start your final, it becomes quicker and easier for you to put a sculpture together. Don't be afraid to bend your paper or crease it so that it stays in place. If it doesn't work out, it's okay. Take your time, figure it out, have fun with it. Once you figure out how this all works and you become comfortable making your sculptures, you can actually move on to your final paper. You're going to repeat the process of drawing your line and cutting it and folding the paper until you get a sculpture that you like. Once you're done with your sculpture, you can post it to Artsonia. I hope you had fun, boys and girls.